afternoon and welcome to this Tuesday, November 6th edition of Westman Newsline. I'm Jordan Olson alongside Colton Yarich and Randy Joseph Lilly. Today I'll bring you the latest installment in the saga that is the Chundy Smoke Shop near Pipestone, as well as some details on Election Day in the United States. And Colton will be in with sports. Colton, I understand the Wheat Kings will be back in action tonight.
That's right, Jordan. The Wheats are at home to the Seattle Thunderbirds and will head into the game with a 1-1 record on their current homestand. There will be an interesting twist to the game as two brothers will face off against each other for the first time in their WHL careers. All of that story and more later on in sports.
Thanks, Colton. And Randy will be in with weather. Randy, it's quite pleasant out today, but I gather that's likely to change in a couple of days.
You've got it, Jordan. Temperatures will be around the seasonal mark today through Thursday, but come the weekend, look out. Wind chill is going to be the name of the game, and it's going to be mighty cold. Currently in Brandon, it is partly cloudy and 4 degrees. It's warm enough that a lot of the snow we received earlier this week is melting. Wind will be coming out of the west-northwest at 35 kilometers per hour, gusting to 50. That's it for now, but I'll be back with full weather details later in the show.
Thanks, Randy. It appears the court date in Winnipeg yesterday for two men who were in contempt of court didn't go quite as expected. Two members of the Ka'nupa-Wakpa First Nation Committee near Pipestone appeared in court yesterday after continuing to operate the Chundy Smoke Shop, despite a court ordering for the shop to be shut down. They promised to fight to keep their business going, but after an unusual ruling, the smoke shop has been turned over to the provincial government. Queen's Bench Justice Brenda Kaiser found the two men in contempt of court for running the shop and has fined Ka'nupa-Wakpa for Chief Frank Brown $10,000 and band member Gareth Blacksmith was given $1,500 in penalties. Both men were fined due to statement filed by Manitoba Attorney General Andrew Swan, which declared both men were involved with operating and the business and disregarding Justice Kaiser's order. Chief Brown says he won't pay the fine, and his First Nation is considering its legal options about opposing the closure. The driver responsible for a crash in July of this year was the cause due to impaired driving was charged in Brandon court yesterday. Eros Peralta Martinez has pleaded guilty to driving with almost 3 times the legal limit of alcohol in his system. He has also admitted to driving without a valid license and fleeing the scene of the accident. At a dinner party where the conversation turned into immigration problems, Martinez became depressed about his young son, who remained in Mexico. He left the gathering around 2 a.m. and ran a red light, hitting a southbound vehicle at the corner of 26th Street and Victoria Avenue. No one in the other vehicle was injured. However, Martinez suffered minor injuries. He fled the scene, but police soon apprehended him. He was fined $2,500 and lost his license for 2 years. In addition, Martinez was fined $600 for driving without a license and failed to remain at the scene of the crash. He was given a 3-month conditional charge for failing to get his fingerprints taken following his release. Manitoba and General Employees Union is proposing arbitration to help reach a new contract for hundreds of Manitoba public insurance employees. If arbitration was to fail, a strike vote would be the last resort. The request comes after 600 MPI workers voted last month to reject the Crown Insurance Company's last contract offer. The 4-year deal included a freeze on wages, benefits, and other monetary demands. MPI said it wanted the bargaining committee to highly recommend the offer to union members before another vote. A trial in Winnipeg has heard how to offer and smoke marijuana during a 15-hour nightmare of repeated sexual assault for a teenage girl. The alleged victim testified yesterday at the trial of Philip Pilon, who has pleaded not guilty to sexual assault, confinement, and trying to suffocate the teen. The teen was 15 and living in a group home in May of 2011 when she was invited to a rooming house to do drugs, but was locked in a room when she got there and repeatedly assaulted by 2 men. The girl testified that she managed to escape the next morning and ran to a nearby library to call her mother and police. A co-accused has pleaded guilty and is expected to testify against Pilon. First, they lost their homes to flooding, then an evacuation to Winnipeg hotels broke up their community. Now the children of Lake St. Martin are to be split up again after the school they were attending in the provincial capital was suddenly closed for the school year late last week. The latest blow to the flooded Interlake Ojibwe First Nation could be the death knell for the beleaguered community of about 700. Winnipeg fire officials shuttered the West End school building after a 2-day inspection turned up fire code violations. And with that, let's take a look at where today's money markets are currently sitting.
You're watching Westman Newsline, produced by the media production students of Assiniboine Community College. Local news, weather, and sports only on Westman Newsline, airing on WCG-TV at 1 p.m. Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays.
After months of campaigning, U.S. Election Day is finally here. Polls are open and Americans are deciding whether to re-elect Barack Obama or make Mitt Romney the next president. Ed Payne has the story.
President Barack Obama and Republican candidate Mitt Romney made their last appeals to voters before Election Day. During a stop in Columbus, Ohio, Obama asked for 4 more years in the White House.
The reason why we're here is because we've got more work to do. Our work is not yet done.
Romney told supporters in Sanford, Florida, that it's time for new leadership.
You hope that President Obama would live up to his promise to bring people together and to solve problems. He hasn't. I will.
Romney's running mate, Paul Ryan, echoed that thought while campaigning in Reno, Nevada.
We don't have to settle for this. We can do better than this. This may be the best that Barack Obama can offer, but this is not the best America can have.
But Vice President Joe Biden told the crowd in Sterling, Virginia, that Obama is the best choice.
Presidential elections are ultimately about character. It's the most important ingredient a president must possess to lead a great nation and lead the world. And President Obama has the character of his convictions.
Voters in Dixville Notch, New Hampshire were the first to cast votes. The town has opened its polls at midnight on Election Day since 1960, but for the first time in history, the vote was tied. Obama and Romney got 5 votes each. In Hart's Location, New Hampshire, President Obama beat out Governor Romney 23-9. I'm Ed Payne reporting.
Some voters in the U.S. aren't just choosing a president today. Those in Colorado, Oregon, and Washington will consider measures that would legalize recreational use of marijuana. The proposals in the 3 states would allow adults to possess small amounts of pot. The drugs would be subject to state regulation and taxes. If the plan passes in any of those states, a legal battle with the federal government is likely. That's all for news, but stay tuned. Randy's up next with Newsline Weather.
Good afternoon with Newsline Weather. I'm Randy Joseph Lilly. Enjoy the mild weather while you still can, because by the end of the week it's going to be ridiculously cold. The temperatures may not seem too bad, but this time of the year it's all about the wind chill. More on that in a moment. Currently in Brandon, it's 4 degrees with a partly cloudy sky. The wind is coming out of the west-northwest at 35 kilometers per hour, gusting to 50. This evening there will be some clouds in the sky and the temperature should sit around 0 degrees. The wind will be out of the west at 15 kilometers per hour. Overnight, the temperature will drop a little to -3 degrees. There will still be a bit of cloudiness and winds should be out of the south at 5 kilometers per hour. Taking a look at our radar image now, you'll note there's very little precipitation today across the prairie provinces and none in our area except for a sprinkling around Russell. Turning to the satellite image, those clouds we've been seeing over the past few days have mostly dissipated. However, note the clouds that are cycling in from the west and the south that have the potential to make Westman a bit dismal once again. And now the 5-day forecast. It may not look too bad here, but you'll see highs ranging from +5 to -7. But take a look at the lows. At a glance, Wednesday through Saturday seem mild enough in terms of temperature, but with the winds being as cool as they are, those lows are deceptive. To put it into perspective, drop each of those low numbers 9 more degrees. So Wednesday it should feel more like -13, a -14 on Thursday. Friday will be -15, and a nasty -16 on Saturday. While Sunday's low will not be affected by the wind, that's little consolation since the actual temperature will be the -17 that you see here. A note for those who love snow, there's a 60% chance of precipitation tomorrow and on Friday and Saturday. Taking a look around the region, Winnipeg is in at 2 degrees, Portage La Prairie is at 4, while Dauphin, Neepawa, Carberry, Killarney, Minnedosa, and Virden are all at 4 degrees. The normal high for this time of year is +3, while the normal low is -8. The record high was set just a few years ago in 2009 when we saw a high of +17.8, while the record low was set in 1991 when temperatures dropped to -22.7. Once again in Brandon, it's 4 degrees with a partly cloudy sky. The wind is coming out of the west-northwest at 35, gusting to 50 kilometers per hour. That's it for weather, but don't go away. Colton's up next with Newsline Sports.
Good afternoon with Newsline Sports. I'm Colton Yarge. On the weekend, the Brandon University Bobcats started their season at the new Healthy Living Center, even though the building is not yet completed. Westman Newsline's Randy Joseph Lilly put on his hard hat, grabbed his lunch kit, and went to the construction site to file this report.
In February 2012, the Brandon Bobcats said goodbye to the old BU Gymnasium. 9 months later, the Bobcats get to welcome the birth of the Healthy Living Center. The building may be far from finished, but the floor is in perfect condition. The men's and women's volleyball team will be the first to compete on the newly made hardwood. Matt Packwood, who is the Brandon University Bobcats administrative assistant, is excited to witness the first game in the new gym and is also eager to see the audience reaction.
Absolutely. I mean, I've been here for a few years now and sort of been involved with the finalizing of the plans on the construction, and here we are today, sort of the first weekend of events. And even myself, I haven't been here near as long as some people, but I still had butterflies in my stomach yesterday. It was sort of that feeling of it's here, it's real, it's happening, and it's a real exciting time for BU.
It's not just the athletes and staff who are excited about the Healthy Living Center. The mobile producer for Westman Communications Group, Brooke Clayton, who is responsible for covering most of the Bobcats games, thinks the upgraded location is a bonus for the quality of the television broadcasts.
It's a pretty big improvement. The lighting in this gym is just like incredible. It's really, really nice. What we see in the trailer and what's broadcast is just like very crisp. I don't know, it's really nice.
All in all, there is a lot of hope and excitement for the Brandon Bobcats' new home, but there is still construction needed, and there is no word as to when it will be completely finished. In the meantime, fans will have to be patient, and it will be up to the basketball and volleyball teams to keep them happy. For Westman Newsline with videographer Travis Giesbrecht, I'm Randy Joseph Lilly.
The Brandon Wheat Kings will play Game 3 of a 5-game homestand when they welcome the Seattle Thunderbirds to Westman Place tonight. The Wheats are currently 1-1 on the 5-game set after a 3-2 win Friday night against Moose Jaw and a 4-2 loss Saturday night to the Calgary Hitmen. The Wheats are currently in a 3-way tie for 7th spot in the Eastern Conference with an 8-7-2-1 record. The Thunderbirds sit 7th in the West with a record of 8-7-1. Tonight's game between the two clubs marks the first time the Honey brothers, Curtis, who is the Wheat Kings goaltender, and Connor, a forward for the Seattle Thunderbirds, will play against each other in WHL action. Drew Brees threw 2 touchdown passes, extending his NFL streak to 51 games, and Patrick Robinson returned an interception 99 yards for a score to lead the New Orleans Saints to a much-needed win, 28-13 over the Philadelphia Eagles on Monday night. The Saints, now 3-5 on the year, bounced back from a 34-14 loss at Denver. Philadelphia, who is also at 3-5, lost its 4th straight. The Eagles had first and goal 4 times and managed only 2 field goals by Alex Henry. The other 2 red zone tries resulted in turnovers. The only highlight of the game came when Deshaun Jackson took a 77-yard reception to the end zone for the Eagles. For those hoping to see a resolution to the NHL lockout, silence truly is golden. Negotiations have reached a critical juncture with the league and the NHL Players Association slated to meet in New York City today. Very little was said after an informal meeting between Deputy Commissioner Bill Daly and NHLPA Special Counsel Steve Fear over the weekend, something both sides warned might happen when progress was being made. And Jordan, that's all for sports.
Thanks, Colton. So do you see with this new decision happening, the NHL likely to reach an agreement and we'll see a season this year?
I'm remaining optimistic that they can reach an agreement today, and hopefully we can get a season underway after Christmas. It's just not possible to have a season before then, after training camps get completed and whatnot.
Definitely, Colton. And that's it for Westman Newsline. Please join us tomorrow for Brandon's only TV newscast.